There is a passage in the Passover Haggadah, the Seder, that many of us recite, we treasure it, and it begins with the Aramaic words, Chol dichvin yete v'yechol. All who are hungry, let them come and eat. It seems that we are, of course, inviting those who are particularly needy to partake of our Passover festival offerings and our meal. But there's something a little strange about this, because this passage does not come at the very beginning of the Seder. It happens after the first cup of wine. It's unusual because, in essence, it's as if we are saying, very nice to have you, welcome. Hold on for just a couple of moments. We're saying Kiddush over the first cup of wine. Then you can come in and have some food with us. I don't think any of us would do that. So maybe we are not really talking here about food. Maybe what we are suggesting, and this is one of the great questions all religions ask, what on earth is worth being hungry for in the first place? We all know that uncomfortable feeling in the belly when the stomach gurgles and something tasty beckons. But what if it were to be possible for us to feel that very same sense for things that are not gastronomically based when it comes to something beyond the call of the stomach? I would like to think that in our best moments, we do feel a hunger and a thirst for something beyond the immediate, the ephemeral, that which vanishes in just a moment, the flavor of that which has a touch of eternity to it. Let's begin briefly with what this holiday really would love for us to undertake and to embrace: a hunger for learning. It's a very strange thing if you think about it. Who sits around a full table and eats with a book? When I brought up the Haggadot for our Seder this year, I noted with joy what was within them. A 2-year-old wine stain here, a couple of matzah crumbs there from God knows when, and charoset from probably 5 years ago, another stain from around Dayenu. The mess is part of the joy. It's an expression in combination of what the New American Haggadah says, ink-stained fingers turning wine-stained pages. And that's it in a nutshell. Learning and asking and tasting and debating and bringing it all together into an unholy mess and sometimes a holy mess so that we can learn through experience, we can learn through words, and to be a perpetual student of Jewish ideas. We did not inscribe upon monuments that which we felt to be important through our history, our thoughts, our beliefs. We instead inscribe them upon human hearts. Why 4 children at the Seder? Because everybody learns differently. We explore, we explain in ways that are individually tailored so everyone can partake of the nutritious learning that is available. You know, there are lots of answers to the question about how Jews envisioned heaven, but one of my favorites is that according to some of our sages, heaven is a study hall. And when a new entrant to heaven would see a group of sages sitting around the table studying the Talmud, he would ask, are these rabbis in heaven? And the answer is no. Heaven is in the rabbis. Pirkei Avot says, Kanei lecha chaver, acquire for yourself a friend who is actually a study partner. We are here on this earth to learn, to grow, and to be hungry for both of them. But it's not just for theoretical knowledge. It's not wisdom for its own sake alone. It is for something greater than that. Some of you, I suspect, and you know better than I do the vision of this, have been to Spain and seen the caves of Alta Maria. Researcher Marcelino de Sansatola documented the history of those caves, but when he first encountered them, he wasn't especially impressed. They seemed to him to carry random etchings. It wasn't until he brought his 5-year-old daughter Maria with him one day into the cave, someplace he had been before many times, and grabbed her by the hand, and she stopped and said, "Look up," and pointed to the ceiling. And on the ceiling were these remarkable drawings of bison that showed just how unique that location was. And as my geologist nephew tells us, that's when he was able to place these caves 38,000 years ago, right in the middle of the Pleistocene era, and they became a unique find. But what was necessary for him to do, what was necessary to find that reality, he had to look up. Our fundamental posture in this world, of course, is very largely, these days at least, looking down, mostly at our phones, and even when in a group. It's no wonder that those who suggest that the way of looking at this world must be to embrace what the prophet Isaiah said when he commented, "Look up on high and see who created this." It's only when we look up, when we move our gaze upward and to side to that which is beyond us and around us, that we begin to see that we are a part of a world that can be very painful but also incredibly remarkable. To thirst for the spiritual dimension in life, to feel a need for it because we know somehow and somewhere we are incomplete without it. To know if we pause and ponder long enough, then miracles are not matters of split seas and exoduses alone, but also being able to awaken to a new day, to the first smile of a baby, to the potential of love, to lift us up out of the shell of the sorrowful and the narrow in life. A religious life is not one of passive acceptance of dogma, but of adventure and possibilities. And to keep with our metaphor, the appetizer is awareness. The main course is amazement. And the dessert is appreciation. That's the promise of a spiritual life. And when we do that, we come to realize that the stunning possibilities of this world can help us to grow a soul. And that if we are aware to its true potential, we will not let it be simply a personal fulfillment. It will cause us to again look outward, to be hungry for something else. This material world is limited, and we know that it has far more to offer. Life has much more to offer than it has for us, but so do the lives of other people. If we start to be hungry for justice, for a sense of the spiritual lives of those beyond us, we will never again be able to read the words of Amos and take them for granted. Let justice flow like a mighty stream. We will not be able to ignore that call. Or as he states elsewhere, that our world is one where we cannot be one who is liknot kesef dalim ve'avion ba'avur na'alayim, where we allow ourselves to buy the poor for silver and the needy for a pair of sandals. The poor, the orphans, the widows, the lonely, the homeless, they become our business. We realize that Egypt was not once and for all something in ancient history, but the journey we are supposed to take every day and to help others to take it as well. The needs of others are our business too. And what a different world it would be if we could be hungry for that reality. That's what I believe we are here for. To nurture, to feed, grow a soul, sensitivity, to open our hearts to the quiet but persistent call of God, to celebrate deeply, to help profoundly, to learn constantly. And it all begins with remembering what is worth being hungry for. And as that little reminder from the Talmud that I share with you from time to time says, behind every blade of grass is an angel whispering, grow, grow. Let us feed that impulse. Let us be hungry for that which matters. B'te'avon, bon appetit. Shabbat shalom. Chatzi Kaddish